Did you know that only 7% of our viewers are actually subscribed? We love creating content for you and want to keep doing it, but we need your support to grow our channel so we can make ends meet. So, if you enjoy our videos and want to see more, please consider subscribing and liking our videos. Thanks for your support.
Hi and welcome again to Cycle Maintenance Academy. If you don't know yet, my name is Arek, and in today's video I'm going to show you a step-by-step process of bleeding Shimano flat bar hydraulic disc brakes. Okay, let's begin. Symptoms indicating the need for brake bleeding. If you notice that your brake lever feels spongy, it could be a sign of air in the brake system. If you have to pull the brake lever further than usual before the brakes engage, it could indicate the presence of air bubbles in the system. If you experience any of these symptoms, then it might be a good time to perform a brake bleeding procedure. List of required tools. Bike stand. This will securely hold your bike in place during the bleeding process. 2.5mm, 3mm, 4mm and 5mm Allen keys. These will be used to remove and tighten various brake components. Flathead screwdriver. You might need this to remove the pad axle and push the pistons back in the caliper. Long nose pliers. These are useful for straightening and bending the end of the retaining split pin and removing and refitting the caliper spring clip. 7mm spanner. This will be used to loosen and tighten the bleed screw. Bike oil funnel tool with oil stopper. This specialized tool attaches to the brake lever reservoir and allows you to accurately pour brake fluid into the system. Syringe. A syringe will be used to remove old brake fluid and inject fresh fluid into the system. Compatible transparent tubing. This tubing will be attached to the syringe and brake caliper to facilitate fluid transfer. Fluid bag or plastic bottle. You'll need a container to collect old brake fluid during the bleeding process. Bleed spacer. This handy tool replaces the brake pads and disc rotor, allowing you to safely bleed the brakes without damaging the pads. Mineral oil. Shimano recommends using its own branded brake fluid due to potential variations in quality and characteristics among different brands of mineral oil. Isopropyl alcohol. This is useful for cleaning brake components and ensuring a contaminant-free system. Cloth or paper towel. This will come in handy for wiping down brake pads and cleaning up any spills. Gloves. It's essential to wear gloves to protect your hands from brake fluid and potential contaminants. Safety glasses. These will provide eye protection from any splashes or spills during the bleeding process. Velcro strap. A Velcro strap can be used to secure the brake lever in a fully engaged position, allowing for easier bleeding. Preparation. Place the bike in a stand. Remove the front wheel. If you're unsure how to do this, refer to our step-by-step video tutorial here for guidance. Take a screwdriver and position it between one brake pad and a piston. Gently push the pad against the other pad, which will force the piston back into the caliper. Repeat this process for the other side. If your brake pads are held in place with a pad axle, use long nose pliers to remove the small caliper spring clip. Then, using a 2.5mm Allen key or a flathead screwdriver, remove the pad axle. If your brake pads are held in place with a retaining split pin, straighten the end of the pin using long nose pliers and slide the pin out of the caliper. Remove the pads from the caliper. Take care not to touch the braking surface, as the natural oils on your skin can contaminate the pads. Install the bleed spacer. use a 4 or 5mm Allen key to position the brake lever in a horizontal orientation. Bleeding process. Locate the upper bleed screw on the brake lever assembly and carefully remove it, along with the seal. Attach the oil funnel to the brake lever's reservoir by screwing it in clockwise. On the caliper, locate and remove the bleed nipple cap or the bleed port cap, depending on your brake model. Fill the syringe with the mineral oil. Attach the syringe to the caliper bleed point and secure it with a strap to prevent it from coming off. Remove the oil stopper from the funnel. Gently loosen the bleed screw slightly to allow for fluid flow. Press the syringe plunger to introduce mineral oil into the system. As you do so, the brake fluid will displace air, and you will observe the mineral oil along with air bubbles flowing through the funnel. Do not press the brake lever during this process, as it might push out the fluid without removing air. Continue the process until there are no more air bubbles coming out and only pure brake fluid flows through the funnel. Once there are no more bubbles, tighten the bleed screw to seal the system. Replace the syringe with an empty oil bag or bottle to collect mineral oil pushed from the funnel. Loosen the caliper bleed point, allowing the brake fluid, along with air bubbles, to exit the caliper through the tube. Keep an eye on the mineral oil level in the funnel. Top it up if necessary to prevent air from entering the system, which would prolong the bleeding process. Once all the bubbles have been expelled, close the bleed screw to seal the caliper. Press the brake lever and use a strap to secure it to the handlebar. Open and close the bleed screw quickly 2 or 3 times to remove any remaining bubbles from the brake caliper. Cover the area around the caliper bleed point with a paper towel or rag and remove the tubing with the oil bag or bottle. Transfer the remaining mineral oil from the bag or bottle to a separate container for proper disposal or storage. Use isopropyl alcohol and a rag or paper towel to clean the caliper, removing any residue of mineral oil. Press and release the brake lever repeatedly. There might be additional air bubbles coming out into the funnel. Repeat this process until no more bubbles appear and the lever feels increasingly responsive. If the lever still feels spongy, consider repeating the bleeding process. Move the lever up 30 degrees from the horizontal position and repeat the pressing and releasing of the brake lever to ensure no bubbles remain. Now move the lever down 30 degrees from the horizontal position and repeat the process to check if any bubbles appear in the funnel. Insert the oil stopper into the funnel. Unscrew the funnel anti-clockwise to detach it from the brake lever's reservoir. Transfer any remaining mineral oil from the funnel to a container. Place the seal onto the upper bleed screw. And securely refit the bleed screw into position. Use isopropyl alcohol and a rag or paper towel to thoroughly clean the lever, removing any remaining traces of mineral oil. Take out the bleed spacer. Install the brake pads back into the caliper. Place the pad axle back into position. And reattach the caliper spring clip. Or reattach the retaining split pin. Bend the end of the pin with long nose pliers to make sure it doesn't come out during the ride. Refit the wheel. If you're not sure how to do this, refer to our video here about how to fit the front wheel. Check the performance of the brake lever by squeezing it to activate the brakes. Verify that the lever feels responsive and provides sufficient braking power. Dispose of the old mineral oil in your local hazardous waste disposal service.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you want to see our channel grow, then consider subscribing, liking the video, or supporting us on Patreon. Thanks, and see you in the next video.